You know, you listen to car content around the internet and you think to yourself, ooh, that's a good topic, right? And then you start listening to it more now where people are talking about all this kind of like global politicking and tariffs and stuff. You're like, I don't want to really
Oh yeah.
start off with a doom and gloom kind of topic. So instead, I wanted to ask you, because I was thinking about it over the weekend or the past week, when you hear these people, a lot of the subjects do get repeated, right? The type of cars, the demographics of people that buy the cars. But what I found in my DMs and what I found in the things that we're hearing from our fastly growing community of clutch culture is that they're not really interested in a lot of those topics of those specific hyper niche, supercar, hypercars. But they love when we talk about the Neon SRT4, which I got like half a dozen of those on TikTok. And we had a post go viral. I was like, yes, Neon SRT4, Neon SRT4. The
I
Dakota,
saw.
the S10, dude. People were talking like, dude, S10s would be great. I think the fatigue of those type of cars is waning big time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say even amongst people I know that own them, you know, in my business here in Vegas, they're getting a little bit jaded about the conversations around hypercars and supercars and different things, and they own them.
Yeah,
You know, these are people that own them and have owned them for, you know, I mean, you know, some of my customers, they've owned them for a very long time. I think it's an interesting conversation about what's happening in the hyper or supercar world. Where were we, you know, let's just say 10, 20, 30 years ago and where we're at now? I think the first thing you got to say is social media has made these things so visible, they've almost become less special, right? So let's take something like a Countach or a Diablo or, you know, whatever. Let's say an F40 or an F50. You know, when you saw one of those things, it was a special moment.
yeah.
And you go, I just saw a Countach. I just saw an F40 at this car show randomly or whatever, and it was special. Now I just search F40 and I can see it on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or wherever. That is the first thing, okay, that I think you have to admit is that
Point out the internet. It's the internet's fault.
But here's the thing: it's great we get to see them more.
Yeah.
But the problem is it makes it less special. So that's, I think, the first thing. But Rob, I think there's this other thing going on that I've had conversations with several people now that I've kind of looked at this theory, you know, that you and I need to talk about, which is there's also too much talk about the money. There's too much talk about the money. Well, I bought this, you know, such and such car, and it cost me $52,000 for a service. It's like
those videos do hot yoga flame fire though, dude. People love those videos.
So,
$12,000 for an oil change and a change of tires or whatever, rotation.
So here's the deal. But it's making it less special.
Yeah.
Because here's what I think. Most of us are never going to own one of those cars.
Right.
Okay? Let's just be fair. We're not going to own one. Yeah, I mean, just letting everybody know. I mean, and again, I hope some of you do, and I'm happy that everybody does, right? Like, I'm happy everyone that owns one, I'm like, that's awesome. First of all, it's become a shticky content thing, like you just said, because they do numbers, right? So that's first. But I don't want to hear, let's just use a car. The Bugatti Chiron is legendary for how much it costs to maintain the car. If somebody who bought a Bugatti, which I have people here in Las Vegas that have a Bugatti Chiron, you know what they never talk about? How much it costs to service the damn thing. You want to know why? They can afford it.
They don't care. Yeah.
They can afford it. You know, and now the conversation has morphed into, well, if I drive this car 1,000 miles, I lose $100,000 in value. It's like, yeah, the guy that was buying the Bugatti is not supposed to worry about that. That was the specialness of these cars. And now we're in a position where, and I think you can speak to this more because you are way better at the content behind the scenes things and the numbers, is that actually what it is, it's like a form of Amazon arbitrage that's going on with these cars, and it's making them incredibly less special by the minute.
Yeah, and everybody right now listening is thinking of a content creator who has done this. And we're not naming names by any means. But
And by the way, I'm not judging them for it because, like you said, it does numbers.
Of course, it does numbers. So they're essentially building a business, but going back to what you said, and I love that word arbitrage because that's exactly what's happened. Like you're using the idea or the dream per se of owning one of these cars, what it could do for a YouTube channel, what it could do for your personal brand, what it could do for your social presence as a whole, and you're arbitraging, right, those people's desires to have that lifestyle, have that car, have that content, virality or whatever, and then you're just riding the wave. And I guess that's totally fine. Not that I guess it's totally fine, but it does lose the specialness of like 15 years ago or pre-YouTube where you would go to a car show. And funny enough, you mentioned this because I saw a post. Did you ever used to go to like a car show or cars and coffee type of thing and just watch the cars leave?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Me too, right? It was like super cool, especially when you didn't get to see these cars all the time, like on the internet.
Yep.
And I go to this post and it's some pretty cool cars and all the comments are like, don't you have something better to do? Why are you watching cars leave a parking lot? Like just real shitty comments. I'm like, wow, like that's so foreign to me. That's so crazy. Why are you?
Well, the crazy thing is I didn't get to see all the cars. So it's a good way to see all the cars. I didn't walk the entire show. I get to see all the cars. And usually you're sitting there bullshitting with somebody.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You just watch. I mean, you're not like, peering into people's like in their glass going, who's driving it? You know what I mean? It's just you're sitting there with 3 or 4 guys and you're talking about cars and you go, hey, we stayed here a little too long. You watch them leave and you get to see everything. But I think we're in this crazy world. And like I said, you buy a really special car and then you tell me you're paying $27,000 a month for it. It's like, I was never supposed to hear that.
Yeah, right. It's also on top of that is that people are, for lack of, for better or for worse, unimpressed, I guess. Like it's cool to be unimpressed by the cool thing you just bought.
Yeah, and I still love these cars, right? So
for sure.
we're letting you in on the conversations that seem to be happening, whether it's friends, customers, people on the internet, DMs we get, emails we get. There's a lot of talk around I'm becoming unimpressed with a lot of these super and hypercars, which, by the way, most of us saw those things on a website, in a magazine, on a social post. That got us even more into cars. Mm-hmm. Like I tell people this all the time. A lot of people from my generation love the Countach. The Countach was not, although I have one here right next to my, in a painting right next to my desk here. The Diablo was more special to me because I had an interaction with a Diablo before I had an interaction with a Countach. Okay? So all my buddies are big Countach people, and I'm like, yeah, the Countach is cool. The Diablo means more to me. So I still remember, the first time I got to drive a Diablo. The second thing I remember is when I got to work on a Diablo. And then the third, fourth, and fifth is where I saw them, right? Yeah. Like I saw MJ driving a Diablo.
No way.
The MJ driving a Diablo. I saw the doors swing, and your boy gets out. It's like a Countach.
The MJ.
Yeah, like the guy, and so it was special to me. Now, if MJ goes on his YouTube channel and goes, I'm paying $26,000 a month for this thing, you'd be like, what?
You just broke my heart. What are you talking? Shut up. Don't say that again.
Why are you talking? So we essentially have people, and I know, and I'm glad I get to see them, okay?
Yeah.
But the fatigue is coming from this constant talk about the cost of things. That'd be like any of us. Let's just say you're a guy that's out there that owns just a normal vehicle. You own a Camry, and you go on YouTube and you go, my Camry cost me $112 to get an oil change. You'd be like, why is this guy talking about this? He bought a Camry. He should be able to afford the Camry. Why is he talking about the fucking oil change?
And here we are. You to say golf. I was like, if he says GT, I swear to God.
I mean, I just kind of, any car. It'd be like me telling you guys what I just paid for my BMW M3 to get an oil change and the brakes bled. You assume when I own that car that I can afford the service of the car. And it would make sense for somebody on the lower end to maybe bitch about costs. Where it doesn't make sense is, the Bugattis, tires are super expensive. Buddy, you bought a Bugatti. I'm not saying it's fair, but I'm saying I keep hearing about the cost, which tells me, A, you can't afford it, or B, you're just doing it for content. And that is taking away the specialness for a lot of people. Now, do I think that's the first thing on the list? I don't. It's being able to see these cars all the time is taking the specialness away, which is great that we get to do it through the internet, but that's what's taking the specialness away. The second thing that nobody talks about is this constant talk about money around these cars, that the people that are supposed to be buying these cars are not supposed to care about the money, is creating an even bigger weight down where everybody's like, I'm just not that impressed with the Koenigsegg anymore. And it's like, no, we should be impressed. But when you hear about the car payment of a Koenigsegg, it gets less impressive.
You know what's? I don't know if I mentioned this on last week, but it was on my notes. We may not have gotten to it. T-Pain had just picked up an Agera R, and the first comment on there was a 2020, bro. I thought you would at least come in here with a 2025, posting this shit or something like that.
Whoa!
T-Pain was like, what? Like, so he actually had an exchange with this person, like a good thread of comments, and I'm just in my mind, I'm like, this fan will call it, or guy is just like, why are you posting your 2020 Agera? Like, where's the 25?
So there you go. Again, look how quickly things are getting less special. Now, obviously, that guy's a dickhead for writing that. I mean, who cares what year it is? It's a cool car. Doesn't mean I'm totally into Koenigsegg's. I've been in them. I've driven them. It's impressive. Is it something I would spend my money on if I had that kind of money? It's not that car for me. But I know that they're impressive, and I'm really glad that they get built. And now you're in a position where you go, we are seeing this groundswell, and what it is all of this talk about the cost of these things. And I'm not talking about how much the car costs to buy. It's everything subsequent. When I can search supercar maintenance on YouTube right now, and I guarantee you I can pull up 100 videos or 50 videos or whatever the number is, where somebody's telling you how much it costs to do stuff to a car. Those cars, those people aren't supposed to care, so it's making it less special by the minute. And again, when you're playing a content game, realize this, and I think we have to say this because I don't want people to get confused. I realize that these people are paying for these cars by doing this content.
Yeah.
Okay? I understand that. It's making it less special for you, though. That's what's happening because you're watching arbitrage in real time. You don't get on Amazon and go, look how impressive this toothpaste is. Well, it's an arbitrage. So you don't say that. So I don't want the supercar to turn into Amazon.com or the Amazon app where I go, oh, let me see how much it costs to, take care of a Diablo. It's like, no, if I buy a Diablo, I don't care what it costs. That's supposed to be the point of it.
Exactly. And it's not lost on me that this sounds like a real elitist take on some of this stuff, but you if you're listening to this, you probably agree. Like, you're not supposed to think, can that guy afford the car that he's posting about? Can that guy afford the car that he drove to the car show? Like, no, you're not supposed to pierce behind the veil like that in a sense to me, because it does, like, if you look back at all the times that the first time you saw it, the first time you rode it, the first time you saw it in a magazine or whatever, the first time you got the Hot Wheel, like, you lose a lot of that. It's almost like, is Santa Claus real or not? Damn it! Like, you're really ruining it for me. Like, what's going on?
Well, here's the thing. You know who you're supposed to hear that? Like, this car dad who just had his first kid that's trying to figure out how to buy an AMG wagon, and he knows it's a stretch. Cool story. That's a great story. You know where that's not a cool story? When you're buying a Koenigsegg. That's not a cool story. When you're buying a Bugatti, not a cool story. Okay, so is there times when we're all like, hey, man, this guy's going to stretch to buy it? You don't want to hear that from a Bugatti owner.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so this is not, by the way, it's the opposite of an elitist take. Okay? I don't want to hear, I just want you to drive the vehicle and not say, if I drive this 2,000 miles, I lost 200 grand. The guy that's supposed to own that thing is like, if I want it to sit and do nothing, that's what it does. If I want to drive it 100,000 miles, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do whatever I want with this car because money's no object. That's why I bought the Bugatti, because money is no object. Okay? That's not what any of us think about our daily drivers. But you want the guy that owns the Bugatti to do whatever the hell he wants, because if you're lucky enough to own one, you want to be able to do whatever the hell you want. Not get on YouTube to make an arbitrage, which we understand.
For sure.
But that's what's making it less special.
Imagine arbitraging that shit on YouTube, taking a buddy out for a video, and then being like, I'm losing like $5,000 just taking you on this test drive around the block. It's like,
when you were broke, you're like, hey, you got $5 for the gas tank. Instead, you're telling them like, hey, my man, you're in a $5,000 car ride.
Dude, I remember those days. It's funny you say that. Hey, man, gas, what's the cheapest you remember gas being?
Probably like $1 something. $1.
Okay, yeah. I
dollar,
think like
$1.25 or something.
I remember like $1.50, $1.75, like going back to my youth. We do have a bit of an age gap, everybody here. Not that big, but just slight. But
I think mine was like let's just say $1. Mine was probably like $1, $1.10.
$1.50, $1.75, and then being like, hey, who's got 2? Who's got 5? Right? Who's got $6?
Yeah.
I'm like, now I think back on it, I'm like, what? How weird,
Yeah. Now you could just buy a Bugatti and go, hey, man, you're on a $5,000 ride. Can I get $2,500? I mean, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, if you're going to arbitrage this thing, just arbitrage it. You know what I'm saying? Do the whole show.
Dude, here's another one for you. What if this is a total non sequitur, but I got to ask because I had it sent by a couple of buddies. Really cool bars. Are you into like really cool home, like garage bars?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Would you charge somebody if you had a fully loaded garage bar to like, chip in to replenish the garage bar?
I would not do that.
Please tell
I
us
would
in the
not.
comments because most people were like, I mean, I'd be all about everybody coming over, but I would hope they'd like drop me a 5 or a 10 spot every once in a while to replenish these bottles.
No, so I have this. I have this because I live in Las Vegas. For everybody that doesn't know, here's one of the things about Las Vegas that I've had to accept very long ago.
Okay.
A lot of people visit here. Okay, friends, let's call acquaintances, business people I do business with. I just got off a phone call. We were just having a joke about something, and here's how I feel. I feel that if somebody comes to your city or I go to their city, they pay. Okay, that's the way it is. So if I invite you over to my garage bar, I'm paying. I if I that's the way it goes. And I don't know if that's like a hard and fast rule, but that's my rule. And
That's my rule as well.
yeah, and there's times like I've known buddies for a long time that I went, to their city for business or whatever to visit, and they didn't pull out their wallet at a restaurant. And I'm like, bud, we're not doing this, right? We're not doing this. So it's one of those things, man.
You don't let it slide? I let it slide.
I've let it. I say it jokingly. I've let it slide, but does it, a couple drinks in? Do you mention it like that? You just picked up the tab in your city? Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit there and let it be awkward, but yeah, never forget.
Exactly. Real quick, we were talking about oil changes and cars and all that kind of stuff. I did want to bring this up. Mark on IG did ask us on Instagram. I hadn't gotten back to him. What are the tires on your LX? He was very curious because his dad has an '07 that he's going to buy in June, and he wants to get.
Actually, you know what? They're BF Goodrich, but I'll have to get Mark. We'll get back to you. Okay. I haven't.
He commented on your picture. It looked really good. Did you already start, detailing it like heavily? Because it looks super clean.
No, well, look. I mean, just for everybody, I'm decent at this thing. I'm decent at that part of the business. No, man, I haven't stopped detailing. Look, for everybody wondering, I got a new Maybach SUV coming into the shop next week. It's gonna be my first time driving that. I got some Range Rovers lined up. So you're going to be seeing some more things out of that world. No, man, what I did with that car is I just did a nice, thorough, deep wash, just simple. That's all I had time with. So whenever we do start diving in and we're correcting the paint and we're doing stuff on the interior, I'll bring everybody in. But no, man, I've just it was the first time I had a chance just to kind of deep clean that car. Just normal, everyday things people can do in their driveway. Just happens to be that I know how to do that a little bit.
Okay.
And
Look at the smirk on his face.
just letting you know. I mean, I thought it looked good in that picture. I thought that was no filters, Rob. That was no filters. Just so we're clear, no filters. I was
going to ask because it looked like a filter. I was like, hey man,
no
filter.
filter.
Know about these filters?
No, we're not an IG model chick here. Okay. We're no filters over here.
All right, Mark, we'll get back to you on the tires in the DMs. But hey, everybody, if you're new to the podcast, this is the #1 automotive culture related podcast on the internet, on planet Earth. We talk about news, trends, give you predictions, but more importantly, a great hang every single Monday. We got 2 new reviews on Apple, so if you guys want to add to those 5-star reviews and 5 stars and reviews, we'll start reading them on the podcast here pretty soon. I also forgot that on Spotify you can leave comments. We had comments in the Spotify episodes too. That hey, shout out to you guys. I'll read some of those too in the coming weeks. Fantastic. But I want to start the next part of the show by saying I have great news, Nick. The Volkswagen ID Buzz is already seeing huge price discounts.
No, yes. We never thought electric vehicles would be discounted.
And I saw one yesterday, and I was going to send it to Marty and you. Dude, it was white, looked clean with the black, EV-looking wheels, which I don't you like more than I do, but it looked really good.
Yeah, I'm here to let's all say this out loud. If that's $50K, you're buying it.
Oh, is that okay? $50K. So let's just go ahead and pull this up here. We got Inside EVs, weird name for a publication.
What I'm saying is, if you can get a fairly well put together one with the color, the wheels, the interior, all the accents you like, and somebody walked up to you and said it was 48.5, when you see those in person, that feels like a fair number.
Here we
when
go.
you see those in person, what is it?
48.5, 48.5, 48.8 for 2025s.
Hey, and I think when they first came out, weren't some of these going for like 70 something?
59 for the single motor I was reading, and then
so you're talking about another 10 grand for the other motor. Yeah, so I mean you were there. The one you won was 70 grand, I believe, was the first when I dove into these and started looking into them. And look, if we're off a few thousand on that, we're off a few thousand. I'm not the biggest ID buzz expert on the planet, but I'll look at it this way. Again, sub 50 grand, it's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting buy. And this is what we keep saying to everybody about EVs. When they hit the right price point, there's really no argument against them. The whole problem with EVs is they've been priced improperly from the very get-go to the point Mercedes is pulling back. Oh, our EQ line didn't sell well. Buddy, I've driven the EQ line up. I have to fix an EQ coming up here that just got in a fender bender. They're fine cars. They're not an S-Class. And that's kind of the money they were asking. And so now everybody's like, can you believe they're, basically going to be done with the EQ and they're going to just have electric versions of the C-Class. And it's like, yes, man, that's all they should have ever done. That's all they should have ever done. What are we talking about here? And it's I don't know why there's such a conversation around this.
It's interesting the amount of we're having pockets now of kind of posts go off on TikTok, finally on TikTok and on Instagram still. Nothing to the virality of the first 60 days, but still interesting. Like the EV, a couple of the EV takes. As a matter of fact, Nick got some great praise about his oratory abilities on making people feel like they felt what you felt, via your takes on the EVs, but just car talk in general. But the Rolls Royce one, people bringing out the batteries, and also the fact that the reason it probably cost so much is because it's still a Rolls Royce that was adopted or adapted to EV. It's not like an EV from the ground up.
Well, then we had crazy people if it had full self-driving, it'd be worth $400,000. It's like, it's not worth it if it doesn't have that. It's like, how is that even a topic?
That's weird.
People just say the dumbest shit about EVs. Cars in general, but it's like, come on, man. Full self-driving, it's 300 grand without it, but if I'd pay 400 if it had full self-driving. It's like, what are you talking about? It's so stupid. We had one, the one I'm talking about right now on TikTok, go off. Actually, no, there's somebody on Instagram right now, literally, as we're recording this, that they're going back and forth talking about EVs and then talking about. So it's funny that this is never going to end. People going back and forth on how polarizing they want to be with ICE, EV, the whole thing. Somebody was the fact that we even said, I think that we were talking about the individual who got drunk on a podcast, and the people were like, "You don't care about the environment. Why are you caring? What do you care about?" I was like, "Whoa, relax." Yeah, no. What do you care about the environment? And this and that. You're acting like you're taking a. It's like, no, man. The whole clip was just about if you're an EV cultist, you should allow people to ask the real questions and just have a conversation about them, not get drunk on a podcast and act like a buffoon. How was that take even semi-controversial? But at the end of the day, what I know is that somebody wants to go on there and act like an idiot. And again, I'm going to say this. The thing that's been the biggest learning lesson since we began this whole thing, I don't know how many people actually listen to what's being said in the clip.
Yeah. And at the end of it, they were like, something about going and having a single-digit driving MPG cars or something like that. And I was like, look, man, those are fun. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, you should have a couple single-digit MPG cars.
What you should say is, do you have a garage bar? Because it seems like you could use one.
Yeah, you need to spend some time in there. Put a little.
You need
Creed
to have
on.
a drink, bud.
Yeah, have a drink. Jam out to some Creed. Just feel better about yourself.
Put some dad rock on. Have some Steve Weisers and call it a day, man. You need some fun in your life.
It's gonna be okay. I promise you. Where did the tariffs touch you? Do you want to see the Land Cruiser that I'm going to be purchasing, Nick?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I can't see it fast enough because if this thing's abysmal, we're hanging up the podcast, and I'll be like, boys, the episode's over.
It's over? God damn it.
Is that a generator on the back? Hey, seems like you could have gotten a little bit more of a sturdy trailer there for that hog, huh?
No shit. Listen to this right now.
Hey, that's a nice car. I love this. Let's buy a Land Cruiser because they're so durable, and then put a Cummins and engine in it.
Hey, I
I
don't care
never
what you
really
say.
kind of.
My pants are wet right now. Okay, I don't care what
I
you say.
gotta ask you though. I never really understood that part
What?
because I think Rogan has an LS swapped Land
Lexus.
Cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I go, why didn't you just? I don't understand that part. The part of the Land Cruiser that makes it the Land Cruiser is the engine.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm just asking. I don't care what people do with their car. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
no, I know, but you got to admit it's less cool. Don't get me wrong, you have one. A lot of people listening to this have one, but if you're gonna go
Better
and
be
throw
real cautious right here. This crew.
I know, right? Guys, hold on real quick. Hold on. Please don't come at me with pitchforks all at once. But if let's just pretend you had the one that you had that's like your baby, but you had another one, you're like, what can I do to this to just like
Yeah. No,
really
you're right about that.
cool?
See, that's why I'm a big. If we talk about the whole garage makeup,
Yeah.
what is in my stable, no questions asked.
Okay.
But if it's my only Land Cruiser,
No,
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know
will
why
give
I
you
would put a Cummins engine in it.
that.
I mean,
Fair.
it's nothing against a Cummins engine. I mean, they've built some good engines over the years. Not all of them, but
You don't know
most of
about
them.
the old 24 valve, brother. Okay, that thing goes forever. Put a million
Yeah,
miles
man.
on that bitch.
I know. Why don't you just put a Peterbilt in that thing? We can drive a million miles. People
God
just act
damn it.
crazy. So I think it's one of these things like you got to tell me what's in your stable.
Yeah.
I like your idea. If that's your only Land Cruiser, I don't know. It doesn't seem that. If it's like, hey, I got two Land Cruisers and one I just went bonkers on, and it has nothing resembling Land Cruiser except for the body that we,
Bobby.
then I'm cool with that. That makes total sense. I'm in.
Okay, fine, fair enough. That's with the agreement. If I do get one, I have to have one that's still like full Lexus Toyota, and then one that's a complete demon of a vehicle.
Yeah, that thing
This is
sounds sweet though.
Oh, so cool. The point of this to me is to just drive this bitch up and down the beach, just like he's about to do, really slowly.
Hey,
Really
I tell you
slowly.
what he should have done is maybe spend a little less on that and got a real trailer. That might have been the move.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
was
get
waiting
off
for
that
thing
trailer,
to
it's like
just
click,
crack.
clack, click, and I'm like, whoa, but how? And that's the guy that drove the farthest to get where he was going. And it's swaying on the road, 100%,
Sketchy, dude.
just
I
being
had
held
this-
on by two chains.
2 chains. I had this post that I'm about to pull up for you sent to me, no lie, about 16 times. I'm sure you probably saw it if I saw it that many times.
Let me see it.
Tesla owners rebrand cars with fake badges to avoid backlash.
I definitely haven't seen this. What
You
the?
haven't seen this? These are Teslas that have Mazda badges, Honda badges, and if you look at the license plate, they're in California.
I have to ask this question.
Please.
Do people know that there have been like real bad people that have run car companies like for a very long time? Like people that have real sketchy past, things that come out. Some are under investigation. Some have fled countries. Like,
I don't think they do.
you don't like someone's politics. And by the way, I don't like either side. I'm very clear on that. So the question I have is, why?
Bro, I couldn't believe. I thought it was fake. It's definitely happening. I pulled it up on different sources, not just Instagram. I can't understand this to save my life. Why you would do that?
So I want to kind of say this in a non-political way. The Volkswagen Auto Group owns a lot of things.
That's the first person. That's the first company I thought of when you said.
And I'm like,
bad hombres in these
I
companies.
mean, and they own a lot of brands that people drive.
Yeah.
Are you rebadging those? Like, you got to be some type of loser. And look, this is going to offend somebody that listens to this. If you take the badge off the Tesla, then don't put another badge on. I'm all for that because those badges are terrible to begin with. That's the reason to take the badges off the Tesla, because they're cheap, they look bad. Take them off. Say it makes you feel better. But to put a Honda, and the part of me that thinks that you would sit down with this person and they would go, I showed him, like it was some type of protest, would make it even more funny, because you go, you do realize you bought the car. He still got the money from that. What do you? What'd you show him?
You
By
realize
the way, this guy doesn't give a shit.
No.
I mean, he bought Twitter. He got ripped off on Twitter and came out and admitted he got ripped off. It's a publicly traded company. He's like, I didn't know all this stuff was fraud. I mean, this is that kind of guy. I'm not defending him in any way, but I got news for you. If you look into car companies, and I mean all of them, you're going to see some characters that you wouldn't support. And I'll tell you this, for a lot worse stuff.
By the way, let's go through there was a couple of slides I forgot back on this post. Let's go through them. What else do we have on here? So there's the Tesla, right, with a Honda. We have a Corvette with a Corvette badge on the bottom left.
Oh, my God.
Here's the Mazda with the CX.
Mazda.
That's a Mazda with the CX emblem. Oh, that was it. There was a couple other ones I saw that had different fucking badges.
Or what about these people that are putting the sticker on like I bought this before?
Yeah.
What is it like I bought? It's like
something dumb.
I got to be honest with you. I'm never like pro key someone's car, but this is almost one of those things you go,
Oh, dude. Speaking of you taking action on a car because of something that's on the back of it, I was in the school pickup line yesterday, and there was a Sequoia, like the desert brown color. I took a picture of it. One, it looks sweet. Two, I don't think that the back emblem is as egregious as you made it sound.
Let me tell you what's egregious. That take.
It's nowhere near as bad as like the stamped Pilot Passport that I talked about.
Hold on. The Chevy tailgates that say Chevrolet real big, those are so egregious because you can't rip them off.
Right.
Right? I mean, that is stamped in. Sure. That's like branding you. Okay? Yes. Sequoia is less egregious than that, no doubt. But you can't sit there and tell me that you weren't looking at that going, damn, dude, I really needed to know really badly that you had a Sequoia.
Maybe it was the Desert Army brown with the off-road all-terrain wheels.
That color looks real good. That color looks great.
Blackish wheels, right, like a gunmetal, and also the emblems were like the same gunmetal color as the wheels. I think they were really trying to make it look like a whole package, and they did a good job because I thought it looked fantastic.
What's the next topic?
I'm going to send you the picture, and I'm going to see if you agree later on or disagree. Well, I don't think I'm going to convince you.
I can tell you right now. Go to Instagram. I'll put it on the story and say, F no. That's what's going to be.
You know what? You've lost every poll I've put on Instagram. This is going to be a poll. We're going to see who's right. You tread lightly now. You tread lightly after saying, of course, by the way.
Yeah. I was going to go off. You're right. Let's go to the next. Let's go to the next slide.
Next slide. Speaking of the whole Volkswagen Audi group of the world, Porsche profits plummet. German manufacturer Porsche is facing the perfect financial storm as consequences of stalling the electric vehicle transition, and imminent tariffs threaten to smash profits. So I didn't know if you already knew some of this, just kind of ahead of this story of them just kind of losing money as of the end of 2024 and not being in the best financial position in a long time, I guess.
So where we all have to get our heads is that pain is coming aside from tariffs to the automotive business because they got lucky the last four, especially guys that defend Porsche. And by the way, Porsche runs a great car company. BMW runs a great car company. Toyota runs a great car company. We're not sitting here saying that they don't. But there's defenders of a brand like Porsche that think Porsche can do no wrong. I got news for you. Porsche hasn't always been the most healthy company. Okay, I mean, they had to make cars for other people at times to stay afloat. There's all kinds of stories in Porsche's past. I think they've done a fantastic job with the brand. They also got very lucky the last 5 to 7 years with a lot of things that weren't even in their control. They capitalized on them. The Macan, the Cayenne, the GT program, they absolutely capitalized and did a great job. But when you're not responsible for your growth on the level that any of these car companies have been responsible the last 4.5 years with supply and demand issues that were completely outside of their control, the massive price increases, largely they didn't have to work hard for, it's going to come back to earth, i.e. 2008 in the real estate market. It's when you're not responsible for things, but you get to benefit off them, sooner or later, you're going to have to pay for them by your profits coming down, this and that. So what will happen here, in my opinion, we'll see a couple bad years here, and then those will become the normalized numbers, and then the car companies will just move on and say those are the more normal numbers. And then they won't be looking back at this time of 2022, which is so close to now. They'll be looking at their numbers of 2026 when they're in 2029. Does that make sense? They're looking back to a time that was unrealistic.
Right. And do you also think a lot of that will have to do with the fact that, like, in this case, it's plummeting because of they're pivoting away so drastically and quickly from the EV? Like,
they're having to eat cost to. I mean, look, they dumped a bunch of cost in, and now they're going to have to eat to get out of it. So there's going to be these big capital expenditures that's going to show up on their balance sheet, but they can't keep building cars that depreciate 50% in a year. They can't do that. Okay, there's a reckoning. So the problem actually started. So if we reverse engineer this, everybody's seeing the problem come home to roost now. The fact of the matter is the problem started with the investment into EVs and the EVs not selling. They're now going to have to capital expenditure their way out of all of those costs to redo production lines and all this kind of stuff. So they're having to spend twice.
Do you think it's going to be equally as long before you start seeing the recovery of some of these efforts?
No. I think the question is how far are they willing to cut EV production? Doesn't seem very far on the Macan, because guess what? They came out. We said the whole Macan story from it's going to be all EV was going to be it was the stupidest thing in the moment. So now they've done a smart thing. We're going to keep the non-redesigned for a decade Macan ICE car around. I think it's going to have 4 trim models still. So it's not like they're just going to keep like 1 or 2. And they're like, well, definitely through 2026 we'll have it. I guarantee you'll see that'll go into redesign and they'll have it in perpetuity. They said some stupid things, but they weren't alone. Mercedes, look, we have the C63 news where it looks like they're bringing the V8 back to that. I mean, all of these car companies were extremely beholden to certain people in office all around the world. It got flipped on its head, and so they're put in the uncomfortable position to eat that. And it's not their fault a lot of times, unfortunately.
They've said for a long time their goal has been like a 20% profit, and it's stating here that they're looking at more of a 10 to 12% this year. Do you think those numbers are pretty accurate to what they hoped to have achieved, and then now what they probably will achieve?
Yeah, look, I mean they're in a pretty low profit margin business. So in the car business, if you were between 5 and 10%, 5 and 12%, you were doing okay. Did they have a time and period where they were getting over 20%? Yeah, great. But you weren't responsible for that. That was something out of your control. If you had 25% margins because you built such a great company and that was your baseline and it was not some outside influence on that, then 100% you're in a different position. But they had nothing to do, just like Toyota didn't or Ford didn't or anybody did for the 4 years of COVID, 4.5 years of the COVID car mess. And look, we're seeing prices fall everywhere, guys. Be very on the lookout. Bring a trailer, cars and bids, Car Market. They're going to get extremely desperate. Dealerships are going to get extremely desperate. We talked about the layoffs at companies. Guys, this is going to collapse much further than it is now. This is the tip of the iceberg. This is just going to keep coming. Now, that doesn't mean people go out of business. Don't get me wrong, okay? But collapse meaning you're going to see these elevated numbers go to normalized numbers and probably fall a little bit further below normalized numbers, because that's what a correction is.
Right. And you were talking about some of this too, just for those that are into the washing your car and detailing on Pints about, dealerships buying shops, I want to say, right? About detailers and just there's opportunities everywhere, not just for buying and selling cars themselves, but how you work in the aftermarket with them too. Yeah.
I mean, dealerships are going to be looking, big dealership groups have been. So for those that have never been in that world or don't know much about that world, the dealership acquisition of the last 5 years was bigger than it's ever been. And just by miles. So you had, many of you live in cities, states, places around the world where you've had like a family-owned dealership group, right? They own 5 to 10 dealerships. I know guys that sold out for hundreds of millions of dollars during COVID. They said, hey, we've owned this dealership group for 75 years. This guy's offering me $250 million. I'm out. This guy's offering me 40. I mean, these are some people that I know that I'm in business with that go, hey, man, they walked in with a check and I don't have to do this anymore. And my kids don't have to do this anymore. I'm out. It was a very aggressive time. Private equity money, Wall Street money, all that kind of stuff flooded into this market. So what's going to happen is their profits are going to just absolutely tank. Yeah. And then they're going to have to find all these ways to supplement. They may go buy shops. you'd be surprised. They may go buy big mechanic groups. I mean, it's all on the table when things start to collapse, how desperate people get to make that money back. Okay? Because they think that they did $200 million a year in 2023. Now they're doing $100 million. They're like, well, we got to make up $100 million. It's like, no, that was never real money. But that doesn't hit anybody's head. That's just not business. You know, they're going to try to find a way to get back up there.
Yeah, very well said. I want to segue back into the EV world real quick because there was a video from about a year ago. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was about a Tesla that somebody bought, they sold it, and it turned out to have a salvage title. Does this video sound familiar to you?
Buddy, the salvage title stuff, I get so much of that, you're just going to have to explain.
Okay, perfect. I knew you would know, but for listeners, and again, like we just kind of gave like a kind of balanced take on the whole Elon thing, these people rebadging their cards. We're not like picking sides here, but at the same time, this video did go viral a while back, and I just recently started seeing it come back again. So I'm going to play it for you. It's kind of long, but we're just kind of go through it maybe in chunks, and you can give your take on your own experiences with things like other EV brands, I guess, without having to name names unless you want to. Here we go.
We're going to continue this discussion, sir. You're welcome to go to TeslaLegal.com.
We call a customer, bought a car from us, and shortly after he bought it, the 12-volt battery had a warning that it needed to be replaced, which is super common and not expensive. And so, of course, we said, yeah, no problem. We'll reimburse you for that. Just set up a service appointment with Tesla, and they'll fix it, and we'll Venmo you the money. So he got the car taken into Tesla, and they got it there, and they checked it in, and they said, this is a salvage title.
So my name is Keelan. I'm a Tesla advisor.
Tell me what's going on.
My technician found that there's structural damage to the car and that it has alerts for the high voltage battery that needs to be replaced. So Tesla practice is when the car is a salvage title vehicle, supercharging gets automatically turned off, gets reported to the system if the car gets hit hard enough. So someone might have not reported this accident and they probably got it fixed at a different shop, paid out of pocket, and then auctioned it off. With these cars, since they are computers, it alerted Tesla that it wasn't an accident and a severe one. We have to run tests on it, and if it doesn't pass, we sometimes are able to recommend things to fix it, to get it to pass. Other times, it just won't pass. And then once it does pass, if you want supercharging turned back on, you also have to pay for that test. So total for both those inspections, it comes to a little more than $1,600. And then that's just to start with this car, because there's a lot of other stuff that needs to be replaced. So it's going to go over $12,000 easily.
I have the physical title, and the physical title's clean. Also, if it was in a severe accident, there'd be a police report, and there's no police report on the Carfax. So can you give me the date of when your system says it was
what's going on here? He sold the car?
He sold the car to a customer. He had a light for a 12-volt battery, takes it to Tesla, and now he's finding out about all this stuff that Tesla's coming back to tell him.
But he hasn't. This is his customer?
Yes. No, this is Tesla that he's talking to on behalf of his customer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now here comes a good part. Now he asked for what's the date of this severe accident that you're talking about.
Allowed to release that information. We just see that there is structural damage to it. It won't power on.
Structural damage isn't the same as salvage title, though. That a salvage title is very different potentially than structural damage.
It's now marked in the Tesla system as salvage, and I can't release any information besides what I just released to you.
I have a physical title that shows clean.
That doesn't make it clean to Tesla standards.
That doesn't make it clean to Tesla standards. So they can just classify it as a salvage title?
So here's the weirdest thing. I have had a lot of cars and fender benders, some of them in a little bit above fender bender and accidents. I've dealt with a lot of Tesla. Tesla is a tough thing, and I've been saying this to a lot of people for many years now. These computer systems that are in your car, number one, many of you are on an iPhone or an Android right now, or you're on a desktop or you're on a laptop, and you've had those things malfunction. You've had those things say stuff to you that you never did. You don't know how it got on your computer. You don't know how it got on your phone. You don't know what's making it go haywire. We've had a couple incidents where we know what happened to the car, and the computer and Tesla have argued to the point that we've had to threaten attorneys before. Now, luckily, the customers I'm talking about in these isolated situations had the kind of money to go, when I say I'm going to get an attorney, I'm going to get an attorney. That kind of got things cleaned up, but not very fast. So don't get me wrong. It's not like everybody spun on a dime and did the right thing. It just, I will say this. has Tesla been overall bad to customers of mine? No. Is Tesla good? No. Right? So, meaning like, is Lucid good? No. Are they the worst humans on the planet to deal with? No. You see what I'm saying? It's somewhere between not horrible and definitely not even average, right? So they fall in that bottom, like 20% of companies you'd want to deal with. Look, we did a lemon law situation with Lucid. We've done several lemon law situations on electric vehicles. We had a Porsche Taycan situation that got really ugly, which I've shared on here before. If your phone has malfunctioned, your car will malfunction. And if it hits you, again, people say, I've never had that happen to me. I didn't say it did. It's happening to somebody. And it sounds like it's happening to this guy.
Yeah, let me see. I think there might be a little bit more left to this, but I was, before I get back to it, blown away that they could just do that. You have a clean title in hand, but in the system, the computer said this has been in such a, you know what I mean?
I don't think people realize how intrusive this can get when they want to get off the hook for something. Like, I'll give you an example. Tesla here in Vegas, and I'm sure wherever you guys live out there, you have to go to Tesla-approved body shops.
Right.
And it's like, it's a fender bender.
Yeah.
But if you don't, and they find out about it, and then you have something go on with your car, you're in a situation. Like, they're going to use whatever they can to maneuver. That's why when everybody goes, I can't wait for companies to go direct to consumer. Be careful what you wish for, because they're richer.
Good point.
They'll fight you more. They got more attorneys than your local dealership. Your local dealership has just an attorney over here. He calls for some help. They don't have general counsel in the building with 10 people on the staff. Like, be real careful what you wish for.
All right, let's see how this wraps up.
Because of the damage to the car.
But you won't share that damage. So
I'm not gonna, I can't share times, dates, alerts, all that stuff. That is internal Tesla, and that's, you're welcome to go to Tesla Legal and request that information about that VIN, but we would not be able to release any further information about the vehicle from this point on.
So the warning light that was on before was for the 12-volt battery. You say there's a high voltage alert now?
I would love if it was just a 12-volt battery. That's a 20-minute job on a Tesla. I'd make James Day. I wouldn't have to take away his battery warranty, drive unit warranty, all that stuff.
Well, you don't get to just randomly take stuff away. Tesla
can. Tesla
She's just clowning this dude.
Away if the vehicle is sound, and it is.
No, it's not. I have proof
I'm
that
no
it's not.
longer going to continue this discussion, sir. You're welcome to go to TeslaLegal.com from this point.
You know who doesn't have a legal.com? Jimmy's Chevrolet down the street doesn't have a TeslaLegal.com. Again, I've been saying this online. You guys need to relax about people going direct to consumer. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you have no idea what you're in for. These people have never done business direct to consumer. They've done it business to business. So they get their money regardless. They can choke point, distribution whenever they want. They sell you a car and you think Toyota's going to take care of you, or Ford or Chevy, you're clueless. And Tesla's the tip of the iceberg because they're not even as powerful with legal as some of these generational companies. Like, you have no idea what you're asking for.
This video pissed me off so much because I've had people like that talk to me like that. Like,
she was clowning that dude right on the phone.
Oh, dude, I felt bad for this guy. He just finishes the video like, this bitch here, just looking at the camera.
Here's the funny thing. He's right. He's got a clean title, this and that. Yeah. Got news for you. A lot of stuff goes on at that DMV. A lot of things go on at car companies. These situations, and I know everyone listening to this, and we always have to say this when we have these types of conversations, just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean it's not happening, okay? There is so much shadiness at your local DMV. There is so much shadiness at a car company. Everyone picks on dealers. There's shadiness there, but the whole circle has shadiness. Because if it didn't, then one person in the wheel, the one cog in the wheel, the dealer, wouldn't be able to get away with it. If they all weren't shady in some way, do you think dealers would have been able to rip people off all these years? Toyota knows it's been going on. Ford knows it's been going on. You have to be shady to look the other way. So when everybody always goes, well, when they cut the dealers out, buddy, they know what's been going on. They're only going to cut the dealers out to keep all the money. That's all they're going to do. You think they're going to change business practices? They know what's been going on.
Yeah,
It's like,
they're not being
people,
altruistic.
yeah, people just don't understand. The whole wheel is damaged, and you want to tell me that the accident didn't happen to the whole wheel. So one cog in the wheel is this really dirty business, and the rest of the cogs in the wheel don't say anything. That makes them clean? How does that work? So this is the point, is if you guys have never dealt with these types of issues with straight manufacturers, don't come to me and tell me you want dealers cut out. Because look, they don't have JimmyChevroletLegal.com to send you to. Tesla does. Go put this on the website, dog. We'll get back to you when we want. By the way, your car's still sitting there.
For months. You can learn all about this in our masterclass coming out this spring, 2025. How not to get duped.
I don't want to get pissed off about this, but I see people who know nothing about the car business act like Toyota is the angel, and they just have this Satan in their midst called the dealership. And Toyota doesn't know what's going on. Buddy, they sign off on it. If they didn't want the dealerships to do it, you know what they would do? Not sell them the cars. How much did Toyota care about you when they gave you a $70,000 4Runner?
They still don't care because they're still doing it.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care that their distribution network was adding another $5,000 to $7,000 on every car during shipping during the pandemic. They didn't stop it. So Toyota taking over, you think they're going to give that $7,000 back, bud? No, they're just going to keep it because they're cool with the shadiness. They're signing off on it. If they send a dealership cars, they've signed off on that dealership shadiness. You think they don't know? Come on.
Here's where the savviness that we've talked about for months now comes into play. Like, you really do. You can't be the guy that commented a couple of times on, like, well, I got to go learn how to negotiation 101 and I got to learn, business 102 here. It's like, no, you don't have to. But if you want to avoid this stuff and don't be made to look like an idiot, do kind of become a little bit more savvy about how you purchase your cars. Or you can say, I bought one car and that's it. I'm going to die with this one car. All right, fine. Then you're not a part of this conversation. But everybody else, if you're going to reach out to Nick for advice, you better be savvy. Otherwise, he's not going to take you on as a client, okay?
That's not true. I mean, I think here's what I always want people to understand. This whole thing is geared to be against you. Stop going into the dealership and thinking that's the shitty part of the wheel. The whole wheel is shitty. So you got to walk in there and not buy the nonsense and not buy the stuff. All of you that got ripped off during COVID, I'm really sad to hear that. But you knew what you were getting into, and then you go home and you bitch about the dealership. Toyota knew what was going on. Ford wrote a letter that it was going on, saying, hey, if you're a dealer for us, stop overcharging customers, as they were all kept doing it. So they wrote a letter on your behalf. So when you do business directly with Ford, which I've done, you think they're going to be the good people now? Come on, man. Like, you guys don't know anything about what you're talking about. And people keep saying, I can't wait till they cut the dealers out. Okay, you just heard a clip what Tesla would do to you on the phone. Yeah, computer says otherwise. Click.
I need to hear more of that pouty customer that you just did. I need more of that when in the future podcast. I need more of that.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. Like, guys, I've had stuff sit at Tesla for 6 months. I had a Raptor engine replaced in 6 weeks with 90,000 miles on it. I couldn't get a simple fix on a Tesla for 6 months. I got multiple 6 and 7 month where if my clients weren't of a certain income bracket, it would have decimated their travel. Okay? Like, I've been a part of it. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you my theories on things. This is how the shit works. Like, you can sit there and tell me it doesn't. Everyone that brings me a Tesla goes, yeah, why does it take me so long to get my Tesla back? 6 weeks? Yeah, how'd you know that? It's as if I've done this before. That's the bare minimum to get the stuff back here in Vegas. 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks.
Damn, that's a long time. But hey, Rolls-Royce they'll give you a whole nother car, and a Range Rover will get you a whole nother car while they have yours in the shop. I'm just saying,
yeah, I mean, at least they have loaners.
Levels to it.
And they got plenty of them because they're like, yeah, we got some screwed up cars. Just give this guy a loaner.
All right, let's rag on someone else for a little bit. I saw the most. I don't want to say rag. I should have set it up better. I should have said, do you want to see the most amazing off-road vehicle of 2025?
If it's not my LX470, then you're lying to the audience.
All right. Fair enough. What do we got here? Here it is. Boom. Check this out. 2020.
Drive in here, see what we got. Oh, traction control cutting. Like, I am full throttle.
No wheels moving.
Oh, that's not good. And I am in off. Like, what the heck?
This is straight out of Austin Powers.
Like your
Let's go
boy's
ahead and we'll try that again.
your boy's just not. He gets up there and the car won't move.
Oh, it's just kill. I am full throttle literally right now. And yeah, that's not working.
Oh, you guys
Okay,
got to go
so
to
let's
YouTube if you
try
haven't seen this video.
another
This is
thing. We're going to go
bonkers.
to traction control, turn that off.
Now full traction off, not just all-wheel drive.
Come on, full throttle.
Oh, got closer.
There we go.
There he goes. Kinda.
Come on, you got this. Ooh, don't want to slide into that tree.
And dead. Not only dead, overheated.
Oh my god.
This is literally 10 feet of mud. Can we get through this?
This is crazy to watch. You guys got to go to YouTube.
Oh, it just shut off its all-wheel drive system. All-wheel drive off, and it switched to two-wheel drive.
So,
oh look, all-wheel drive came back on.
so I got a crazy thing here. So now there's some kind of like Tahoe, Silverado, throwing rods in the engine thing going on. I mean,
hear about this?
I got news for everybody. Chevy may have really done well during the pandemic, but it seems like there's some shit coming home to roost. Like, hey, maybe they concentrated so much on C8, the rest of the shit just went to the
for 1 year they had like a hell of a year. Like, yes, we're going out on the peak. Fuck it.
And then kaboom! You see people sharing like the noises their Tahoes are making when they start them.
Yup.
I got.
Clink, 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 clink.
I mean, here's the crazy thing. So what did this guy follow up aside from the video to kind of say what was actually happening here?
No, he just posted it yesterday.
So essentially, this thing would see any type of dirt and then just decide when it wanted to shut itself off.
Yep. Let's see if there's a little bit more to it, maybe.
Oh, I got out of there.
So I see how it is.
Well, for a second.
It had to think about it for a second. It had to overheat, conk out, shut down. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Is the computer? Looks like the computer's trying to assess what is going on.
Yeah, it's like the torque vectoring or something that's going on is just not managing the power at all.
Why?
I mean, you did buy an Equinox.
And all-wheel drive just shut off again.
That was it.
Hey, your boy did a great job right there. He just kind of like narrated what he was. He's like, dude, this is crazy.
It was enjoyable. Like I had to share it on the podcast just because he did a good job. Like he was just kind of going with it. Like I don't think he expected the car was clean going up, so it's not like he had already done it, right?
Yeah,
so he was just going along, rolling with the punches. Fuck it.
Yeah, he's like, I can't believe. So when they say is there a warning light telling him it's overheating?
Yeah, because you heard the noise and then his taillights turn on, so everything kind of just shut off for a second.
That's unbelievable. Chevy probably called him with a cease and desist. You know,
right.
Like, hey, take that video down. You can't tell people the truth.
Let's see. How much do you think this starts at? I'm trying to find the model he was driving.
I'd say 46. 46 to 58 would probably be my guess is where that
it
lines
says starting at 33, but we all know what that means.
Oh, really? Well, look, if you don't have to go off road and you're just driving to the grocery store and back, you don't have to worry about the active, whatever it is system.
That is another thing about this too, right? Like, really, are these moms going to be going off road? And
this has kind of been my argument against the 4Runner crowd forever. It's like, but I see them at the mall and at the gym every day. Like these men and women are not taking these things off. I mean, maybe they go up on a curb to they took a turn too wide. Like, let's be honest, you don't need the ladder in the back, bud. You've never seen the dirt. I mean, I guess that's the other. But I'm pretty impressed. It's only $33,000. Maybe that. I mean, I'm not saying it's a nice vehicle.
Yeah.
But they go, hey, we're going to price it like a Dodge Hornet and call it a day.
Not a bad move, actually. I would buy this over the Hornet, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. That Dodge Hornet. That Dodge Hornet's such a piece of shit. You'd never have that thing in your garage.
In your stable. Speaking of the cars like not going off road, there's a video of this guy that's like he's in a Raptor and he's got like a whole headset like a jet. He's got the little microphone comes down. Have you seen it? And he's like, I'm finally using it the way it's intended to. And like the music's like like some classic rock, and it shows the windshield. He's driving to Starbucks. So funny. Well done. Well played, sir. Well played.
Dude, one of my good friends has a Bronco Raptor, by the way, most uncomfortable seats ever to ride around town in. And he's got it. I think that dude has probably seen dirt when his wheel kind of rolled over like a construction site zone, and there was like some dirt that had dumped. That's it.
You just doing your boy like that?
Oh yeah, I did too. Look, let's be clear about Nick on the podcast and Nick in real life. This is how I act. Okay, there's no there is no difference. I want to say this because we're getting some comments like this. Guys, when we talk about shooting the shit on cars, you're supposed to bust your buddy's balls about his car. Okay? Yes. You're supposed to bust my balls about my LX470 and what I haven't done to it, and I don't take it off road. That is what this podcast is about. We are trying to bring back real car culture that we all know, which is I'm supposed to make fun of my buddy who bought a Bronco Raptor, overpaid for it, doesn't matter to him and his income bracket, but I still bring it up all the time. I'm like, this thing, you overpaid for it. And he just reminds me, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I say, these seats suck. That's what this is supposed to be. And I think we are getting some people in the comments that are starting to catch on that that's what we do. You're supposed to bust balls about a personalized license plate. If you want one on your car, man, get one on your car. But I'm going to bust your balls about it. It's fun.
You're getting one, right? You're getting one?
I was going to get one. No, I didn't get one, though.
Please get one.
So,
as a matter of fact, the best name, leave us in the comments. Maybe Nick will choose your name for his LX470.
I'm picking up my plates today, so you guys are a little too late. So I'll give you the best one, though. I'm driving today, and so for people who don't know, this has like been my hobby my whole adult life, was taking pictures of funny license plates or stupid license plates and sending them to people. So I'm behind this guy, red Corvette, convertible. Okay, C7.
Okay.
Cool. All right. You know he's middle-aged, 100%. His license plate says Vegas Esquire, like, you know, with the ESQ. Uh-huh. And I text a bunch of people. I took the picture and I text people and I go, let me give you a piece of advice. I'm not always going to give you this good of advice. Don't hire your attorney if he has this PLP. Just let you know. Don't do it. don't do it. And on the red Corvette and on a convertible Corvette. And we can, you know, we're at the end of the episode. I can give you guys my ideas on convertibles. Got to be a certain level of car to really have a convertible. I've never thought Corvette convertible should have existed. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of what I want to end this episode with, Rob, is we see you guys finally getting that we're here to bust balls about people's cars. Like, I bust the 4Runner balls. Dude, if you want to buy it, buy it. But I'm supposed to bust your balls about a ladder you don't need. That's what I think we want to get across.
Fair, and I'll leave you with this. We'll leave it for the people in the comments. Targa T-Tops convertible. Go. What are we doing?
Like a Porsche Targa is kind of mean, though.
You got to choose one, and then everybody else in the comments, let us know. Send in some messages. Put it on YouTube. Which one, Nick? You got to pick one. You can only pick one.
Targa.
I'm going T-Tops.
I know. T-Top. Look, Z T-Tops were sick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody. If you want to follow us at Clutch Culture Pod everywhere on the internet, if you want to send in some emails, clutchculturepodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a rating review on Instagram, or rather, damn it, I always do that on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to the podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.